let's see. Can we talk about Avatar live action? Is Rye still here? Because I don't want to I don't want to beat a dead horse on that. But chat, like, I wonder if I wonder if there's like a video that can like summarize everything. But like everything, chat, it's actually gotten to the point where people are memeing about Avatar live action, and like the memes are like convincing, even though they're supposed to be satire. So basically, chat, like they announced that, or I don't know if it was announced, but it's being reported that, for instance, Sokka, like he's not going. You guys know, like early on in the show, how he's like kind of sexist. He's, you know, I think one of the first scenes in the show, he says to his sister, he's like, that's what I get for trusting a girl, or never trust a girl, or something like that. They're removing that from the show. Yeah. Farva was talking about it on Twitter. I was like, I wanted to just say like, oh, this shit has gone woke, but I was like, all right, well, I get backlash from people if I say that. I'm just not gonna say that. Like, they removed that from the show, chat. They are supposed to be removing, it was something related to Zuko. Oh, I think his story is going to more be, it's not going to be about like catching Aang, and like it's not going to be about like how he has this burning desire to like crush the Avatar. Now it's going to be about like his journey with like his parents, and it's like, bro, why are y'all changing this shit? Like, the show is perfect. Like, Avatar, chat, is the greatest show Nickelodeon ever made. It's the best show they ever made. Why are you changing it? Seriously. Like, why are you changing the story, at least? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Go woke, go broke. Go woke, go broke. Oh, okay. I'm like, do we actually have a video? I'm gonna come back to this one. All right, maybe I'll do this, chat. Maybe I'll keep the cash deck and I'll pick up a Labyrinth Core. I don't see myself going to Voiceless. Yeah, because like I already have all the well, I don't have this card. And I feel like I might slip in a one copy of Black Goat's Mask. What's it called? Christian Uranus said he was like it's a pretty good card, but he was like, it's hard to fit it in right now and still do 40, but like I am not opposed to going to 41 cards. Cap G's soul number is 40, so.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of the most cherished cartoons ever made. It's an absolute masterpiece. And when you think of Avatar: The Last Airbender, do you also think of Game of Thrones? I imagine for all of you with a functioning frontal lobe, the answer to that question is a resounding no, which means you are not a showrunner for the live-action Netflix adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender, because for some reason, these absolute goofball-brained goobers think that they needed to change the show around to appeal to...
Wait, whoa, what? Netflix's Avatar, The Last Airbender series is hoping to appeal to Game of Thrones fans. Says showrunner. Oh my. Now I've never asked this question. How many people in the chat have actually watched Game? Like, I've seen every season, but I hecking love Game of Thrones. But Game of Thrones is brutal. There are murders around every corner. Like, almost every main character gets killed. There's incest galore. I mean, if we start having incest, I mean, God. There's sexual assault. I'll keep it at that. Game of Thrones has every single debauchery, chat, you can think of. Like, all of them. They're all in the show. And I love Game of Thrones. I love it. But, this seems like two very different demographics. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're just reaching for the wrong demo. Can't even finish Game. Well, no, because the season wasn't out when I was watching Game of Thrones. There was no season 8. The season 8 is the final season of the show, but when I was watching Game of Thrones, there was no season 8. Like, it was still in the makings. So like, you had to have HBO, or I guess pirate it. Like, you know, I pirated the series anyways. But yeah, the season 8 wasn't out, and then all everyone did was trash season 8. You know, with coffee cups and stuff, and it's like, should I really watch it if all everyone does is talk shit about it? But like, I don't know. I really like season 7. Like people harp on season 7 too because I guess it disconnected from the book, but like season 7 was awesome, and the first 6 seasons are just goated. Like it takes a few episodes for Game of Thrones to get its bearings, chat. But once it does, that shit is insane. It's a trend to make bad shows farm the cringe. Game of Thrones ended at season 6. You know what's so wild, chat? This is like the most wildest thing I could never make up. You know how me and my brother have, would you guys say, very unique names? My name is probably less unique than his, chat. But like, my name is Randall. His name is Ramsey. Game of Thrones has 2 characters in this show named Randall and Ramsey. That is fucking wild, chat. Yeah. There's Ramsey Bolton and Randall Targwell, I believe. Sam's dad. Sam's dad is like Randall Targwell or something like that. That's crazy. There's a Ramsey and Randall in Game of Thrones. Like those are 2 characters in the show. And growing up, I've never met another person named Ramsey in my life, chat. The only Ramsey I've ever known is my brother. I met 2 Randalls. Yeah, I've met 2 Randalls in my life. And of course, you know, like Randall and Recess and Randall from like Monsters Inc. But yeah, it's wild that Game of Thrones had like a Ramsey and a Randall character. My brother, my brother's name is I'm pretty sure it's Egyptian.
To a Game of Thrones audience for some reason.
Randy
I don't
Orton.
even think it's necessary to even entertain that delusion, but I'll do it briefly. Why? Let's just state the obvious here. Avatar aired on Nickelodeon. It's a cartoon. That is a children's station. Now, of course, Avatar is a cartoon that transcends just like a child-appreciated show. All
True.
ages can appreciate it, but it is family-friendly.
No,
Game of Thrones has titties and blood and shit out the wazoo. It's totally different. Why would you want Avatar to be morphed into something Game of Thrones adjacent? It makes no sense. That is the most...
There's also, it's like, there's suicide on Game of Thrones. There's bombs. Man, Game of Thrones... Bro. I don't know what the dude, man. That's a show we need to watch. Yo, Game of Thrones is fucking wild, chat. I haven't watched it in a long. I love Game of Thrones. I really love that show. Yes, this is how my brother's name is spelled, chat. It is Ramsey as opposed to Ramses.
Out of touch Netflix corporate suit decision I could have ever imagined out of a boardroom. Oh, we need to tap into the Game of Thrones audience. Why? Also, for the most part, the Game of Thrones audience is dead and buried with the fucking colossal flop of Season 8 being such a fumble. Right. Now, of course, House of the Dragon helped revive it a little bit, but even still, this is just beating a dead horse. No, it's more than that. This is like mutilating the corpse of a dead horse. It's disgusting. You're defiling it. I just can't understand that decision at all. It's like if you were doing a live-action adaptation for the Care Bears and making it dark and gritty for no reason. Yeah, we saw all the whimsy and the childlike fun of Care Bears, and we wiped our ass with it. We said, it's time that
I hate to say this, but does that not sound super duper duper on brand for like modern times or even Netflix? Like that's nonsensical to me. Chat, like I grew up on Care Bears. I know them. They're living this like, it's kind of like Smurfs, except they're like way more colorful. I remember having a Care Bear when I was like a little kid, like 3 years old. I had, like all the kids had like Care Bears. God, I think mine had a rainbow or something. But that was like, yeah, you guys, that was like before you even knew like rainbow was gay. But like, yeah, mine had like either a rainbow or like a heart on like its belly or whatever. But that's like very on brand for what like companies would try to do now, is they like try to reboot Care Bears, but like, we're gonna make them like evil, or you know what I mean? Make it, make it like emo or something like that.
Care Bears gets with the program in the 21st century. It's time that we adapt Care Bears to fit the modern audience, and we wanted to tap into fans of the Human Centipede franchise to welcome them into the Care Bears universe. Just, what are you doing? What are you doing? Now, I already made a video talking about, like, the first trailer that dropped for the Avatar series, and like I said, visually, I think it looks pretty good, and I had somewhat of an optimistic outlook on it, but I had to mention that I was still very skeptical because the creators of Avatar walked away from this Netflix adaptation quite a while ago, stating creative differences. So the actual creators that put together...
I did not know that, chat. That's a pretty bad sign. Cause like I don't know, maybe that's something like I wouldn't have understood that when I was younger. Like when a creator walks away from that basically means stop changing my fucking show. Like that's what that means. Stop changing my fucking show. No, we're not gonna change. No, we're not making Sokka this or that. Like, stop changing my fucking show. It was fine the way it was. Well, we needed to adapt to the, like, that's what that means. Stop changing my fucking show for no reason. Yeah, I did not even think about that.
Together, this masterpiece left it because they didn't like the direction it was going. And now, as it gets closer to release, it comes out at the end of this month, it's pretty clear why they left. It's because they're changing all of the most important fundamental aspects of Avatar. It's very clear why the creators would have abandoned this pile of shit. It's not looking good. Visually, it's certainly better than M. Night Shyamalan's Sin from 2010 with the Last Airbender movie. But narratively, it's looking like it could be even worse somehow. Over the last 3 days, there's been 3 bombshell new pieces of information from staff of the show that just really raises a lot of red flags and sounds the alarm. So this was the first one about wanting to appeal to Game of Thrones audiences. The showrunner saying that it couldn't just be for kids. Dummy, it was never just for kids. Avatar: The Last Airbender is one of those few cartoons that everyone of all ages sings the praises of because it appeals to everybody. It was never just for kids. And you don't need to prove that it's not for kids by introducing a Game of Thrones style narrative to it for the drama. I don't even know how they're planning on weaving that in there, but I can't.
Yeah, I don't. Again, if you guys have ever watched Game of Thrones, chat, it's Game of Thrones is all about deception. It's all about deceit. It's all about terrible people doing whatever they can to get ahead. It's all about breaking codes and no morality and just seeing the most vile stuff done like often. Like, you can't trust anyone and get like, is that what Avatar is gonna be? Totally for kids. Had racism, genocide, horrible family issues. Well, now it's about to have incest.
Imagine that's going to land very well. Also went on to say it had to also appeal to the people who are big fans of Game of Thrones, so it had to feel grounded and mature and adult in that way too. That's the tightrope that we have to walk. No, you don't. You can just not walk that tightrope because it's nonsensical to do that in the first place.
Family issues? I mean, Zuko. What you mean? Like, Chet, doesn't like every person in Zuko's family fucking hate him? It, like, his mother's dead. The only person he has who even supports him the slightest is his uncle Iroh. Like, everyone shits on him constantly. His sister, his fucking crazy sister, his dad who won't acknowledge his existence, like, who burnt his fucking food, who literally scarred him for life. You want to talk about emotional scars? His mother's well, not whatever. That's not apparent in the show. That's not apparent in the show. That must be some shit from like Legend of Korra or something. But that's I don't remember seeing that chick in the show one time, and we watched every single episode.
This is like if Nintendo.
Oh, in the books. Okay, whatever.
Nintendo would have come out right before the Mario Bros. Movie released and said, we knew in order for Mario Bros. To succeed, we needed to appeal to John Wick fans. So we had to make sure Mario Bros. Felt grounded, mature, and adult in that way too. It was our tightrope we had to walk. It's just fucking baffling. It's mind-boggling. Why does Avatar: The Last Airbender need to appeal to Game of Thrones fans in any way, shape, or form? The idiot benders over there at Netflix have lost their marbles. They're off their gourd right now with this direction. And this is only one of 3 big alarming things they've said. The biggest one is by far their decision to completely change one of Sokka's main character arcs that he goes through in the show. Apparently, they're toning down Sokka's sexism.
Sokka is just going to be a nice Christian boy / nice Buddhist boy who doesn't have any character development at all. I mean, I don't know. Like, every time I want to say of the 4 chat that Sokka's my favorite, but then like Toph just it has to be, it's Toph. But anyways, I really like Sokka. Not more than Toph though. I love Toph. But like, what are you doing? What are you doing? They're toning down his casual sexism. That's like, oh God.
In the show, stating, I feel like we also took out the element of how sexist Sokka was. I feel like there were a lot of moments in the original show that were iffy. He is a flawed character, that's the whole point. I don't know why studios are so afraid of flawed characters now, where every character needs to just be morally perfect off rip, so then they're extraordinarily uninteresting and don't really have any character development. The whole point was...
Oh, wait, have you never seen Avatar, BP? I'm assuming that he grows in this show and turns down the sex. Yeah, that's what the voice is saying. It's like, yeah, that was like the point of his character. Like every single, almost all of them, like almost all the main, like Avatar, the was it 4 of them? They all like have super deep character development. It's actually insane. It's like some One Piece level shit. Like, it's really insane when you compare it to like other Nickelodeon shows. Like, you don't get that out of anything else in Nickelodeon. But yeah, it's like one of the points of the character, and it's just they're just throwing it out. It just doesn't make any sense why. You know what I mean? Tone down is so vague. I feel like we need to see the show to really know how badly. Oh, we'll watch the show, Chat Chan, because we watched live action One Piece on stream. Yeah, we can watch the series comes out in like a week or so. Like we can watch the entire series on the stream.
Sokka started off very flawed, and he goes through this development where he learns, oh, women can be badass warriors too. It's not just men. It's a huge component of his character and his growth. That is one of the main things that he first goes through. And apparently they've just wiped their ass with that. Now, they didn't say that they've entirely removed it. They've said they've toned it down. Of course, no telling how much. But still, why do that? Why have that play a backseat when in the show that was pivotal to his character growth and development? I also find it comical that this aims to be more mature and adult, seemingly wanting to appeal to Game of Thrones fans, and yet they're watering down the elements of the original children's program because they believe adults are too fragile to handle it.
That also doesn't make sense. It's like, wait, why are you toning this down? Game of Thrones had tons of sexist characters, chat. Like, I don't even want to go into all the shit that happens to women on game. Just don't be a girl on that show. That's, oh my God. Was that one girl, chat? Hold on. For those of you who've watched Game of Thrones, you'll know what I'm saying. Oh my God. Wait. Jon Snow's sister, the oldest one. She got married to she got married to Nick Jonas. Sansa Stark. The redhead. Sansa Stark. Oh my God, chat. Was it season 6? You don't even want to know what happens to her, bro. You don't even... Oldest? Yeah. Sansa Stark. You don't even want to know what happens to that bitch in that season, chat. I mean, she starts out, it's a little cute girl. She learns very quickly, chat. And when she gets married to, in season 1, she gets married to the little King Joffrey. Oh my God. They just shit on her for like the whole show, chat. My God. This is why girls are like, how are you?
That's just so laughable to me. Kids could handle it back then, but times are different now. We need to make sure that the adults are coddled as much as possible. It's got to be Weenie Hut Jr. and super sterile. But we also have to make sure it appeals to Game of Thrones fans. And once again, this begs the question I've asked a million times when it comes to this shit. Why are you adapting this in the first place? What is the point of your live action adaptation if you're going to change the most fundamental elements of what you're taking from?
Why is that, chat? Like, is it just to use the name of the old property and say, okay, we know we have a great property, but what if we change like 5 things about it and then we just get like a completely different... Is that what the game plan is? To like just try to get a completely new audience, but then the old people will watch it anyways just because like, they're dumb. They'll watch it because. Is that the tightrope that they're supposed to be walking? What's up, Flax? Because money, profit over values, literally for money. But like, but is that like the end goal, chat? Because why not just make? I don't want to say one for one, right? Like you can make subtle adjustments, but like, why make a show so different? You know, like, I watched Cowboy Bebop on Netflix, chat, and it's just like so many things, like, why this character? Why you change this about this person? Why'd you change this about this person? Why is there so much random? Why are they going into a? Why is Vicious going into a drug house with a bunch of naked women? Like, why is this guy's ass just randomly in this shot? Why is this character, like, I'm like, what is all this weird sexualized shit when I'm watching Cowboy Bebop? Like, there wasn't none of this in the original. You know what I mean? Like, why? What are you doing, dude? I don't know. Just give me my fucking show back. You have a built-in captive audience. They keep making the same stupid mistake. Well, they didn't fuck up One Piece. With One Piece, I'm watching One Piece, chat, again, and I'm like, okay, One Piece live action isn't as good as like the One Piece anime, but that's mainly because it's like, all right, you did change some story elements and you took a couple of things out just for the sake of time. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be one-to-one with the anime because the anime goes on forever. So for the sake of time, it's like, all right, we got to get rid of the little kids from Usopp's Island, and we're just going to focus on the girl. You know what I mean? Yeah. Also, yeah. Oda, that's another thing. Is like, yeah, Oda was involved. Like, Oda's like, you're not going to fuck my show up. You know what I mean? So, that's disappointing. But, like, I'm getting the sense that this show's going to fucking suck, chat.
You immediately...
Can we add Jenny or can we add Jenna Ortega? Why did I say Jenny Ortega?
Alienate the
I know all the Zoomers are obsessed with her. I just know her from Scream. I'm a Scream fanboy, chat.
Fans,
I love Scream.
And you're not bringing in any new fans from doing it. You just stand to lose. It's a lose-lose situation all around, like we saw with Halo Season 1. Now, Season 2 does appear to be going a different direction. Maybe they've learned from the mistakes.
Not me.
But this is, once again, falling into the same fucking mistakes of why are you adapting something that you don't even seem to like or get in the first place? With further evidence from their most recent statement saying that Aang will no longer be, going on any side quests or taking any detours. He's just going to be all business all the time.
This was the other thing I saw on Twitter. This really doesn't make sense because Aang, like, that is Aang's story, chat. Aang's story, and it makes so much sense when you think Aang's story is about him being like a 10-year-old kid who doesn't want to be the Avatar. He just wants to be a kid. He just wants to be a kid who has fun. And then as he goes on, he realizes, like, I have to get serious and do this fucking thing. Otherwise, the world could end. You know what I mean? Like, that's supposed to be his story. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he has this, like, but if he's just gonna be, I'm serious all time. I'm Aang, the Avatar. Like... they're gonna fucking ruin this character, chat. Like, yeah, I'm serious all the time. Give me my flying bison. Let's go. Like, bro. That's why he left the Air Temple, to get out of force being into the Avatar role. Yeah, like, they made him Cells of Elite. Yeah, this isn't Naruto. This is Naruto and Shippuden when he's already like 300 episodes in. This is what, right? This is when he's about to fight Pain. Naruto's already like 500 or like 400 episodes into the show at this point. Like, I don't know. They're just like fucking up major elements of the story.
Which runs counter to one of Aang's big character traits, that he just wants to be a kid.
Yeah.
That he wants to have a childhood.
He's
In fact,
goofy.
the whole thing starts with him running away from his responsibilities. He never wanted to be the Avatar, and he wanted to just be a kid. But in this show, I guess that's not going to exist. He's just always going to be all business all the time.
Yeah, chat, sometimes there's like certain aspects of a show where I'm like, why is that the way it is? But then you think about it, it's like, it makes sense. I think I told you guys, chat, that like an example of that was like Neon Genesis Evangelion. I think I first watched that show when I was like 20. And I really hated Shinji. And I'm just like, why is he such a pussy? Just get in a goddamn giant robot and save the world. And it's like, wait a minute. How would I react to that if I was 13? And I was told, oh yeah, if you don't get into this mysterious giant robot and fight this alien, who, by the way, we have no idea how to actually beat. We just doing this shit on the fly. Yeah, pretty much the entire world just ends. Like, would I have some hesitation or reservations about that? Would I be a whiny bitch about it sometimes? You know what I mean? And then I watch Neon Genesis Evangelion, like a few years later, and I'm like, yeah, Shinji. I'm like, his personality and his character traits make perfect sense. I understand why this kid is fucking like mentally having a breakdown on every episode, and why he's hesitant, and why he's trying to do all this shit for his dad. I'm like, I identify with this kid because he's fucking 13. You know what I mean? Cap maturing. Well, the first time I was like, Shinji's a whiny bitch and I hate him. Then I watched the show again. I'm like, well, actually, he's only 13 and this kid makes perfect sense and I actually like him now. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's just one of those things, chat.
And they have to know that.
They're turning him into Korra. Yeah, but like, Korra was annoying. Korra got better as the show went on, chat. Or at least her little form was like fucking obnoxious. Like baby Korra, little Korra was like obnoxious. I'm Korra, the Avatar, and you gotta deal with it. It's like, oh my god, shut her up. Seriously. I meant season 1 Korra. I liked her cockiness in season 1. Like, it's like, you know what? I'm a bad bitch, and I know I'm a bad bitch. Like, okay, I'm kind of digging that. But when she was a kid, she was just obnoxious. So
that they're making the conscious decision to just fuck everything.
So she was a kid. Yeah, well, I'm sorry, but some kids rise. Some kids can be obnoxious. My nephew Donnie was like, yeah, even my nephew was obnoxious, Chad. My nephew Don, not both of them, not Jay, but like Donnie. God, like I'm glad that kid grew out of that because like he was actually obnoxious. Seriously.
Because they believe they can do it better, and that hubris has ruined so many of these in the past. Avatar: The Last Airbender has to be one of the most talked about shows probably ever. If you just type in Avatar: The Last Airbender on YouTube, you'll get thousands upon thousands of video essays going over all the nuance of the show, all the plot elements, and everything that makes it so special. It is a show that has stood the test of time and is still actively discussed to this day, so many years later. So there's no way the people that worked on this are somehow...
I agree. Avatar: The Last Airbender, chat, one of the few things that people called goated, that when I watched it, we watched it, what, a couple years ago, chat? Maybe 3 years ago? And I was like, damn, this actually, like, yeah, this actually earned that, like, this lives up to that reputation. There's not a lot of things you hear like, oh, this is goated, this is insane, this is one of the greatest things, like, it's not as good as people thought. Or not as good as people say. Like, One Piece was like that for me too, chat. It's like, okay, this lives up to all my expectations. Like, yep, Avatar like lives up to that billing. It's been 3 years. I wish I was here. 3.5. Well, we watched
but
Korra,
they are just
too.
choosing to completely change them for some inexplicable reason. I don't get it. Why adapt this then, if that's the case? A lot of money is going into this. You can tell that it's a high-budget production just from the trailers. Visually, it looks pretty impressive, especially compared to the 2010 counterpart. So why waste all that money? You could have just done a more faithful adaptation, and I've always said I don't really see a point in adapting something one-to-one. I do believe you need to take creative liberties, but not when it comes down to the most fundamental elements of what makes that property special in the first place. You can interject your own style and your own creativity into that universe while still keeping the DNA of it intact. It really isn't that difficult, and it has been done successfully in the past. Like, it just takes some care. I hate to keep referencing this, but I really thought they did a great job. The One Piece live action, it had the creator on board, and you can really see that helped. This had the creators on board, and they clearly must have been ignored, and all of their advice fell on deaf ears because they eventually walked away from it, and now we're left with what seems to be an impending disaster in the Avatar universe here. Yet another live-action Avatar blemish. It doesn't compute with me how many times they have to learn this lesson. These shows, when you're taking from a beloved IP, need to at least pay respect to it. This seems to be actively against it. We needed to change the whole show around so it wasn't just for kids, so it could appeal to Game of Thrones fans. When again, it never was just for kids in the first place.
Chat, what will be the next major show Netflix ruins with live action? Would they go Naruto? Jujutsu Kaisen. I feel like, yeah, I'm feeling Naruto. Jujutsu Kaisen only has 2 seasons, so like I don't know if you can really adapt that. Yu-Gi-Oh! Yo, Yu-Gi-Oh! They might make them black, chat. Like they might make all the characters black since they're Egyptian. Oh man, live action Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm not gonna lie, chat. That would actually hurt my heart. That would actually hurt my heart if we got live action Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was bad. Like that would really hurt my heart. I feel like I would actually take that personally, chat, just because of like how ingrained we are to like Yu-Gi-Oh! as a property, as a card game. I feel like I would actually take that personally. Bleach, I could see that. Gears of War. They can't adapt WWE. It's already live action. You know what I mean? Joey is now black. Sailor Moon would be interesting. Yeah, Sailor Moon would be pretty interesting. They could make this one actually super edgy. Yeah, they can make this show very, very edgy. That could be the reason it gets ruined, honestly. So does Yugi Transfer. Maybe, because when you look at Tim, it's like, hey, he is an Egyptian pharaoh, and most pharaohs are black. You know what I mean? Yeah, he turns from like this little 15-year-old Asian kid into a grown ass black man, and nobody knows. No one actually realizes like, oh, it's a different person now. Detective Conan.
We had to change Sokka pretty substantially here because the whole sexism thing, it just wasn't sitting right with us. It was very iffy. Even though that was extremely important for him as part of his character growth. It's not like they used his sexism for like jokes or to put people down or belittle women or anything. It was never used for like shock or anything. It was actually used because it showed that he was flawed and needed to grow. And he did grow. Like, it's just so fucking frustrating. Like, I don't get it. Why even keep doing these adaptations? So yeah, I'm not
like because Sokka can still if Sokka still has like a really good sense of humor, I think I can like overlook that. To me, there's no way around me saying this. That does just feel woke, chat. To just be honest, that just feels woke. To say like, oh, the audience can't handle him making fun of women, but then learning like, oh no, women are actually badass, and he's like the warriors, I forget what they're called, like if they're the Kabuki warriors, like they kicked my ass, and I want to go to them and like learn, you know what I mean? Like I don't know, that just feels woke. But like the Aang thing feels like that could actually ruin the show. Like, are you guys with me? If they're just going to make Aang 100% serious, he's not gonna like joke around. He's not going to enjoy, like, being a kid and do all the goofball. Like, that feels like that can actually just ruin the show. Because now you're taking the main character, you're stripping away his identity, and that just feels like that could be whack. So, like, the Aang thing feels like that could actually ruin the show. So, we'll have to see. I mean, we'll see shortly.
Optimistic about this show. I guess we'll see. Maybe it surprises me and everyone else, and it comes out and it's a banger. I just don't have any hope for that being the case anymore because of every interview they do just making it sound more and more dog shitty. That's really about it. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. See, this was good. I mean, first off, I like Moist Critical, chat, but I had no idea. I had no idea that this video was about Avatar. Yeah, I had no